guys, welcome back to another video. I'm Shah and this is Thoroughly Enjoyed Books. Today I am bringing you my end of year book tag. This is a book tag that was created by Ariel a couple of years ago. She brought it back this year and I'm very excited to do this. We only have about 5 weeks left of 2019 and what a shit show this year has been. However, I'm really happy that I've managed to get back into reading this year. I've read so many books that I've loved and just had such a lovely time. But there are of course books that I want to get to by the end of the year. So I'm just going to dive right into this video and leave a link to Ariel's video down below, so go and check that out. The first question is, are there any books that you started this year that you still need to finish? And I actually made a whole video about this recently, which I will leave a link to down below and just up here. And that was 10 books that I started in October and didn't finish. Plot twist, I ended up DNFing most of them, not because they were bad books, but just because I was too overwhelmed. However, there was one book on there that I really want to get to before the end of the year, and that is If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. This was a book that I had picked out with my friend Shannon over at 155 Books, who I'll leave a link to. We read this book together as part of our book club that we're running. It's kind of on hold until the new year because I am useless. I was in such a slump. This is a book about a group of college students who are actually theatre kids, and one of them dies, is assumed murdered, and 20 years later one of the friends is released for the murder, and they tell the story of whether or not they actually did it. I got about 100 pages into this before getting into my slump, but it is the book that I've been most excited to read, so I definitely want to finish this before the end of the year. I'll probably start it again, to be quite honest though. And if you want to see what other books I started and haven't finished, then check out that video for sure. And the second question is, do you have an autumnal book that you can use to transition into the autumn and winter period? For this, I have picked A Study in Charlotte by Brittany Cavallaro. I have spelled that so wrong. Cavallaro. This is another book that I started and I just haven't got around to finishing yet, but one that I really want to. So this is a modern kind of Sherlock Holmes. This is the great-grandchildren of Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson, and they are at a private boarding school when somebody is murdered and they are framed for the murder but go about trying to figure out who actually did it. This series has been raved about on BookTube, and for good reason. Like, I'm only halfway through this book, but I absolutely adore it. So I cannot wait to get around to finishing this one. I know I'm going to love it, and there's just something about mystery novels that screams autumn to me. I'm not a huge thriller fan, but detective fiction. The next question I'm cheating a little bit on, and that's because is there a new release that you're still waiting for? I don't actually know if there are any books still to be released that I want to read this year. Do many books get released at the end of November and December? I ain't sure. But the book that I picked for this question is, of course, The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. Obviously, I've got the copy in my hands right now, so I'm not technically waiting for it, but I do want to get around to it before the year is out. I did sit down and tried to read it the first night that I got it, but that was when I'd actually had 10 books on the go, so I was overwhelmed. So I put it aside and I'm going to get around to it before the end of the year. I am. I'm kind of trying to go into this book knowing as little as possible, but it is basically about a boy who discovers a book in his university library and finds out that his life is actually recited in it. Next, we have, what are 3 books that you want to get to by the end of the year? And for this, I've picked books that were on my 10 books I want to read in 2019 list that I haven't read yet. I've actually just gone through that list and I've only read 3 of them. There's another 3 here that I do want to read. I did notice that a lot of them on that TBR are actually quite long, so I've gone for the shorter ones. When the Curtain Falls by Carrie Hope Fletcher, which is about 2 actors who do a play and find out that the theatre that they're doing the play in is actually haunted. It's like a romance ghost story. Cannot wait. So then I want to read Alias Hook by Lisa Jensen. This is a Peter Pan retelling from the point of view of Captain Hook. You know I love pirates. Very much looking forward to get into this one, and I love this edition. And then we have Far From the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy. This is a classic I've wanted to read for so long, about a young woman who inherits her father's farm. Because she's a woman, people aren't particularly happy about this, so I very much want to get to this. And then we have, is there a book that you think will still surprise you and become a new favourite? And actually what I've picked for this is In the Skin of a Lion by Michael Ondaatje. This is the author of The English Patient, and this is actually on my reading list for university this year. We are reading Canadian literature at the minute, and my lecturer adores this book. She says it's beautiful. So I have very high hopes for this actually. I don't know too much about Canadian literature. I don't have a clue what this is actually about, but I do know it's about multiculturalism in Canada. So very much looking forward to get to that one and think it could be my favourite book. And then the last question is, have you started making your reading plans for 2020? Now I'm currently in the middle of doing this because I'm not 100% sure what I want to do. I'm not sure what my reading goal is going to be. I don't know if I want to read specific genres or specific types of books. I don't know if I want to do a TBR project where I make my way through my TBR. I'm not sure what I'm doing yet, but I have started to think about my book club. Now, as you probably are aware, I run a book club with Shannon, over 155 books. She is beautiful, she's gorgeous, she's the kindest human being you'll ever meet. We started a book club called the Dog-Eared Book Club. I'll leave a link down below to our Twitter, which you will see is quite empty at the minute, and that is because I went through a major reading slump. I haven't messaged Shannon yet actually, but I'm going to pretty soon to sort out the books for the new year. I think it's best if we have a little break in December. I need to get a schedule, I need to figure out exactly how I'm doing it, but I am sure that that'll get up and running in the new year. I really want it to get up and running. So keep an eye on my channel for all my reading goals for next year, because obviously I'm going to make a video about them. I am going to go ahead and tag a few people to do this. I'm not sure if you've done it already, guys, so I'm sorry if you have, but I would love to tag Shannon, of course, at 155 books, Vibka over at One Book One Review, and then Mel over at Mel the Raven Girl. So I'll leave links to their channels down below. Go and check them out. They are amazing people. As usual, I'll leave all my links down below. Go and follow me on Twitter and Goodreads and Instagram and all that just good stuff, and I will see you in another video very, very soon. Take care. Bye.